just trying to block me. Everything was going against the sanction bodies, going against everything that people sit and tolerate. I wasn't tolerating it, so it's kind of like the black sheep, like, he's the bad one, get him out of here.
His level, Shakur Stevenson has been
Though Terence Crawford just broke his silence, he is not holding back. The boxing legend used Instagram with a message that sent shockwaves through the entire sport, calling out the World Boxing Council in the most direct way possible. His words were sharp, calculated, and dripping with sarcasm as he wrote, "WC, ain't no way y'all are still this mad. It is cool, bro. The ring belt was free." This was not just a random post from a retired fighter trying to stay relevant. This was Crawford stepping into a battle that has been brewing for months.
Bodies. Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you?
He is defending his protege Shakur Stevenson against one of the most powerful organizations in boxing. The tension between fighters and sanctioning bodies has built for years. Yet the current situation goes past the normal grievances about politics and corruption. This is personal. This concerns vengeance, hypocrisy, and a conflict threatening to split the sport internally. What the WBC did to Shakur Stevenson is precisely what they did to Crawford only months before. The boxing community is now starting to see the pattern. The simple question everyone asks, is this really about rules and regulations? Or is the WBC penalizing fighters who bravely spoke against them? To grasp why Crawford is so angry, we must return to January 31st, 2026, the night Shakur Stevenson entered Madison Square Garden with everything to prove. The 28-year-old from Newark, New Jersey was facing Teofimo Lopez, a fighter known for his power, speed, and an unbreakable confidence nearing arrogance. Lopez was the WBO junior welterweight champion, and most experts favored him to win the fight. Stevenson was a technical master certainly, but doubts remained if he possessed the punching strength to challenge the best at 140 pounds. Those uncertainties were completely destroyed mere minutes after the opening bell. Shakur delivered an absolute clinic, dominating almost every round with a masterclass in boxing fundamentals. His jab snapped Lopez's head back. His footwork made him untouchable, and his ring intelligence was fully displayed as he outthought and outmaneuvered one of the division's most dangerous fighters. When the final bell sounded, there was no controversy and no debate. Shakur Stevenson had just won the Ring and WBO junior welterweight titles in one of the most complete performances of his career. More crucially, he became a four-time world champion at only 28, joining an elite group that includes Oscar de la Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez, and Terence Crawford himself. The importance of that achievement cannot be overstated. Winning championships in 4 separate weight classes is a true mark of greatness, a testament to skill, discipline, and the ability to adapt as your body changes.
I put the work in, I stayed disciplined throughout my camp. I was in tremendous shape, and T.O., he's a hell of a fighter, but I was the better man.
In those victorious moments after the fight, Terence Crawford was right there in the ring with Shakur, celebrating beside his protege as the crowd roared its approval. The boxing world was buzzing. Shakur Stevenson had arrived at the top of the sport, and his future seemed limitless. But that future collapsed just days later. On February 4, 2026, the World Boxing Council dropped a bombshell that left fans, analysts, and Shakur himself completely stunned. In an official statement, the WBC announced that Shakur Stevenson was being stripped of his WBC lightweight title effective immediately. The timing was brutal. Shakur had just experienced the biggest win of his career. And before he could even catch his breath, the organization was taking away one of his championships.
WBC 135-pound belt, fresh off his absolute destruction and masterclass in ending Teofimo Lopez's career last Saturday night in Madison Square Garden with the beautiful display of boxing.
The reason they gave seemed clear on the surface. According to WBC rules, a champion cannot hold belts simultaneously with other governing bodies in separate weight classes, especially in divisions where they do not hold WBC titles. Since Shakur was now the WBO junior welterweight champion, the WBC argued he could no longer keep the lightweight belt. On paper it sounds reasonable, but here is the problem. Most fighters in Shakur's position are given time to make a decision. When you move up in weight and capture a new title, sanctioning bodies typically allow you a grace period to decide which division you want to compete in going forward. Fans and analysts expected Shakur to have weeks, maybe even months, to weigh his options and choose his path. Instead, the WBC moved immediately, stripping him just days after his victory, as if they had been waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Stripped him now of his 135-pound title because he won the WBO title at 140. Shakur Stevenson made it abundantly clear that he's a 135-pounder. He's going up in weight just for...
The Newark fighter did not even get a chance to celebrate properly before everything was taken from him. Shakur Stevenson is not the type to stay silent when he feels disrespected, and his social media response was explosive. He took to X, formerly Twitter, and unleashed posts that called out the WBC directly. His central claim was simple but damning. The WBC wanted him to pay $100,000 in sanctioning fees for a fight their belt was not even involved in. Consider that. Shakur fought Teofimo Lopez for the Ring and WBO titles. The WBC lightweight belt was not on the line. Lopez was not a WBC champion. The organization had nothing to do with the bout. Yet according to Shakur, they demanded a six-figure payment simply because he held their lightweight title while moving up to challenge for a different belt. In one pointed tweet, Shakur wrote $100K to some crooks who do not deserve it. No, Lalani, I would rather give it to you, baby girl. Referencing his daughter, he made clear where that money should actually go. He did not stop there. His next post cut deeper. The WBC did not even have anything to do with this fight, and it is eating them alive. That line is crucial because it reveals what Shakur truly believes is happening. In his mind, this is not about rules. This is about the WBC being bitter they were not involved in one of the biggest fights of the year, and now they are punishing him for it. But the real moment came when Shakur pointed out something that strengthened his entire argument. "And I just paid these people after my last fight," he wrote, explaining he had already fulfilled his financial obligations to the WBC after his previous bout. So the question he posed was entirely reasonable. What am I giving you all $100K right now for? And then came the accusation that would change this entire story. Because you all have beef with Bud, so you come at me for it. With those words, Shakur connected his situation to something much bigger, a pattern of behavior from the WBC that had already cost the sport one of its greatest champions. His final message to the organization was defiant and unapologetic. Take your belt. It does not make me. Translation: I do not need your validation. I am still a champion with or without the WBC.
Can't give this dude a week to make a decision on what he wants to do next.
To understand why Shakur would accuse the WBC of having a problem with Bud, you need to go back a few months to one of the most controversial moments in recent boxing history. In September 2025, Terence Crawford achieved what many thought impossible. He moved up to super middleweight and defeated the pound-for-pound king himself, Canelo Alvarez, becoming the undisputed champion at 168 pounds. This was a historic achievement that secured Crawford's legacy as one of the greatest fighters ever. He had conquered another weight class, dethroned the sport's biggest star, and proven again his skill was on another level. The boxing world was still processing this when December 2025 arrived and the WBC made a stunning announcement. They were stripping Terence Crawford of his WBC super middleweight title. The accusation was clear. Crawford owed the organization $300,000 in sanctioning fees and had refused to pay. What happened next became boxing legend.
$300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? They ain't gonna tell me. I ain't even tell. apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self and paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000.
Crawford released a video response that went viral within hours, and his words were as blunt as they come. "Boy, you better slap yourself. I am not paying you all." Crawford said directly to the camera, his frustration and anger fully displayed. "What are you talking about? Pay you $300,000. It was raw, unfiltered, and exactly the kind of response that turns a business dispute into a full-blown war. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman tried to defend the organization's position in multiple interviews, explaining the breakdown of the fees.
Comply with the rules, then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
According to Suleiman, Crawford earned about $50 million for the Canelo fight, and the standard WBC sanctioning fee would have been 3% of that purse. However, Suleiman claimed the WBC had been generous, reducing the fee all the way down to just 0.6%. This came out to $300,000. He further argued that $225,000 of that total would have gone directly to the Boxers Fund, a charitable organization founded by his late father Jose Suleiman that helps fighters in need. On the surface it sounds reasonable, but Crawford was not buying it. And his counterargument exposed a major flaw in the WBC's logic.
$225,000 going to the Jose Suleiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best.
Every other major sanctioning body, the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA, had accepted the payments Crawford offered them. They had no problem with the amount he provided. So why was the WBC the only organization demanding more? Why did they think they were entitled to a higher fee than everyone else? Crawford's question hung in the air unanswered. And his response was the most dramatic exit boxing has seen in years. Rather than continue fighting with the WBC, Crawford announced his retirement from the sport. He walked away as an unbeaten 5-weight world champion and the first fighter in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 3 separate divisions.
For 30 years, would you retire? All right then. So there go your answer. So that's why I retired. I gave my all to boxing, but I'm not going to give my health to boxing. If I was to come back, who would I fight? I'm asking you.
So say it's a good question.
All right, so there you go. There you go. I have nobody to fight. I have nothing to accomplish. So now I'm just coming back for the sport and just...
It was a legacy that would have been impossible to tarnish. But the WBC had tried anyway. Social media exploded as fans and analysts started connecting the dots between what happened to Crawford and what was now happening to Shakur Stevenson. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Both fighters were close friends and training partners. Both had been stripped of their WBC titles within months of each other. Both situations involved sanctioning fee disputes. Both fighters had been outspoken critics of the WBC and its practices. The conspiracy theory began to spread like wildfire. Was the WBC deliberately targeting fighters who dared to speak out against them? Was this retaliation disguised as rule enforcement? Shakur's accusation that the WBC had beef with Bud and was now coming at him because of it suddenly gained a lot more credibility. The timing was too perfect, the circumstances too similar. If you believe in coincidences, this was one incredible coincidence. But if you believe that powerful organizations sometimes use their authority to punish those who challenge them, then what was happening to Shakur looked a lot like payback. The boxing community was divided, but one thing was certain. The WBC's credibility was taking a serious hit.
Lamont Roach at number 2. Shakur says, okay, I'm willing to fight Lamont Roach. And you strip him? This is why these sanctioned bodies are a joke. Look how long Gervonta Tank Davis held the WBA title. It's a joke.
Fans were questioning whether the organization actually cared about the sport or just about protecting their bottom line and their reputation. Terence Crawford had been watching all of this unfold from the sidelines. Retired but clearly still invested in the sport and in the career of his protege. For weeks he stayed quiet, letting Shakur fight his own battle. But there comes a point where silence becomes complicity. And Crawford reached that point when he saw the WBC doing to Shakur exactly what they had done to him. The retired legend could not stay quiet any longer. Crawford's Instagram post was perfectly calibrated to send a message without saying too much. He addressed the WBC directly with a line that was equal parts mockery and defiance. WBC ain't no way y'all are still this mad. It is cool, bro. The ring belt was free. That last part was a direct jab at the organization's obsession with sanctioning fees.
And you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. Fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. Who you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that
The Ring Magazine Championship, one of the most prestigious titles in boxing, does not charge fighters a dime. You earn it through merit, not by paying fees to a governing body. Crawford was essentially saying you can keep your expensive belts. The ones that actually matter do not cost anything. But the message to Shakur was just as important as the message to the WBC. By speaking out, Crawford was showing solidarity and support. He was telling his protege, I see what they are doing to you and I have your back. Crawford did not just post once and move on. He retweeted all of Shakur's posts, amplifying his protege's voice and making sure the entire boxing world saw what was happening. The subtext was crystal clear. The WBC was still bitter about Crawford refusing to pay them, and now they were taking it out on anyone associated with him. And here is the most telling part of this entire saga. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman, who had been so vocal in defending the organization during the Crawford dispute, remained completely silent in response to both fighters. No statement, no clarification, no defense, just radio silence. While the drama between Shakur Stevenson and the WBC was unfolding, an even bigger threat was looming on the horizon. Mauricio Suleiman was now fighting a war on multiple fronts. And one of those fronts involved the most powerful promoter in combat sports, Dana White. The UFC president had recently launched Zuffa Boxing, a new promotional company with a bold and controversial promise. No sanctioning fees. Alright everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Ring Headquaterzz and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.